Very soon, we are going to have access to the Sci-fi pack. Again, in Planet Coaster 2, it has been a pack in Planet Coaster 1, but with the next update on the 29th of May, we are getting the wonderful Sci-fi pack. So what we're doing today, we are going to obviously prepare for that very pack, what is coming. And I can't wait to show you what I've done, because this is going to be a whole new area in our beloved Hanseatic Dreamland. Today we are going to build a completely new hall, but before we do so, let me just quickly give you a note from the sponsor of the channel. As you should know by now, this is Instant Gaming. It is a platform where you can get game keys for a great value. They have a lot of discounts, they have a lot of campaigns going on. Obviously, good customer support. You'll get that directly via mail if you purchase over there. And by doing so, you can also get DLCs or pre-orders or whatever you can think of. You can even get in-game currencies for a better value. So if you want to pay with like PlayStation money or Xbox money, whatever, you can do so. And by purchasing via the link in the description, you do help me directly, because a small fee of that will land exactly at your best camel's friend. So now let's talk about this build over here. You can see I took one of the older halls. Actually, this is the very first hall we've built, the big harbor hall across the lake on our main entrance area. In case you have no idea what this project is all about, we are building a theme park in an abandoned area of the Hamburg harbor. So the idea is that we have basically purchased a whole big area of the Hamburg area that isn't in use anymore. And so the first couple of episodes, I had a pretty big concept already drawn months ago, before Planet Coaster 2 even got released. Now then, you know, the release was a bit bumpy, but we still made the best out of it, and we have a very nice starting point with like a lot of the buildings that do actually exist in Hamburg, or at least the architecture is leaned very much towards what is obviously existing in Hamburg, and a couple of these typical industrial storage halls and so on have been built. We're going to build a bit more also in the direction of the classic old harbor of Hamburg very soon after that. And as promised, the season 1 will soon be uploaded to the workshop so you guys can get hands on it. I am planning to do this with this very park today, so that with the video you should be able to find it. If I do remember, I will give you the linky and the copy code or the workshop code at the end of this episode. And if you fancy doing so, you can build yourself in here or just explore the park. I'm going to continuously update the park to the workshop so you get all the newest additions. I did plan to do a bit more for season 1, but I feel like it's a good point to do that because of all the changes that are coming to the game soon. It's a good point to do that. Now you can see what I'm doing over here is again, and I talked about that quite a lot in my tutorials, but also in the latest videos, I am creating a bit of a height difference. So this building is a little bit farther back from the overall canal, so that means we have a bit of space to work with that. And what I did is I created actually a 4-meter height difference so that the house itself is a bit higher, which could happen relatively easily because of some more storage in the ground, and then they decided to build like a bit of a retaining wall around that, and then maybe in the future they plan to even extend the harbor area, and so they have the building already raised, or it's more important to what you have inside of that for like flooding and so on, so you would have this more realistically in this space over here. Then I did want to create a bit of a nice staircase leading up. I think I did it a little bit too complicated. I could have done this a bit more simple, but I thought that was the best method, but I actually, had a bit of a hard struggle here. I could have done this easier, I guess, with using the line tool and doing two, basically, facing each other, the two rounded kind of staircase leading down, and then connect those two together. I think that would have been a lot more easy, but at the end of the day, I kind of mastered this staircase anyways. I wanted to have this staircase not only rounded to the sides, but also have the same angle go down. So with the new pathing, that works obviously pretty well. And also with the update, we are having so many new pathing options that will also play a role in the upcoming stuff I build. Now, I'm preparing this hall, as you will see finally in the real-time part later on, for the upcoming Sci-fi pack that is a returning pack of Planet Coaster 1. I am a big fan of it. I know that not too many people love the pack. Mainly, I think the biggest criticism in the past has been that the pieces are too big and too pre-themed and leading too much into one direction, I guess. I never had that feeling, to be honest, but if anything, with scaling now, most of these kind of negatives are gone. So I'm looking forward to it a lot, and I can't wait to test what we are able to do. And hopefully Frontier also increased the ability of flexi-color with the pieces, like they did with the Western pack already. So that would be a very, very nice thing to do. I also can't wait for the Fairy Tale pack then in the second next update, the June update, which is already kind of confirmed. I mean, not officially, but, you know, Adam kind of gave it away, more or less obvious. So yeah, we are building also a huge plaza. But what I wanted to say about the sci-fi area, I have not fully decided yet what typical or what kind of type of sci-fi I want to do. So maybe you can jump into the comments, and let's talk about the comments in a second in general. But maybe you can jump in and give me an idea what type of sci-fi we should go for. I'm a little bit split on whether I want to go into like an Art Deco kind of sci-fi or a retrofuturism. I'm a huge fan of this type of retrofuturism kind of, you know, original Space Mountain kind of style. That would be very fancy indeed. But I have the feeling after touring the wonderful Space Mountain that Kenny did that this was already pretty possible with the Aquatic pack. So I feel almost like a Art Deco kind of a future vibe could be really cool, like this kind of 60s, 70s vibe, like Fahrenheit. I don't know, this is something I'm leaning forward to. We could also go ultra modern, you know, trying to see what's possible with like a very ultra modern, like the latest, I don't know, movies that have been released with like super modern, super kind of modern sci-fi realization. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of that, most of this is too clean for me, too sterile. But yeah, I've not fully decided yet. As always, Star Wars kind of vibe is also working too. I'm watching Andor at the moment, the second season, which is incredibly good. I honestly, sometimes you do have these kind of ratings and people are going mad over like a series, and sometimes the hype itself is creating the ratings. But this time around, it really holds up to what everyone was saying. I'm so hyped about this series. It's so good. Disney showed that it is possible to do a good series, but oh my god. Also on that note, what is your favorite series? Because at the moment I'm looking into what kind of series we can watch on Netflix or Amazon Prime, whatever. Please let me know what's your favorite series at the moment, because we are still looking into finding a new series for us, and we are not fully happy with the ones we have so far. We watched a lot of the classics, so yeah, we would need some more series. And also, if you've got some good books, then please let me know. As I said, I'm still listening to a good audiobook at the moment, but if you've got some very nice tips, what type of sci-fi stuff maybe. I'm leaning towards sci-fi at the moment. I would love to have some sci-fi stuff as an audiobook for when I'm building in the sci-fi theme. So if you can give me any idea about that, that would be absolutely lovely. And in any case, and I am very curious to hear that as well, as we are getting now the sci-fi theme, I really would love to understand what theme you guys are missing, apart from the ones we know. Because I was kind of thinking about this lately. We have so many themes already, if you take the Planet Coaster 1, including all DLCs, and the current game with the 4 themes. What is missing, guys? What is the one theming or scenery pack you would love to see in Planet Coaster that has never been done before? I'm really curious to hear. I'm not saying my one, I'm gonna tell you in the next episode, but I really would love to know. And please make sure to really comment a lot today, because I still have the time to get all these ideas in for next week when the DLC launches, so I can finally get my hands on it and try building. Because I've got a lot of ideas that go into it. And we're also soon going back into the Splash Peak. Splash Peak is still on my list, but, you know, at the moment, kind of trying to juggle the time a little. And I felt like preparing for the sci-fi pack is the more efficient thing to do right now. Also, I'm looking into a very specific tutorial, and I wanted to know if there is a need for that. But this park over here is gorgeous. I really love it, but there's one big thing missing at the moment, and that is kind of dirt and grunge and rundown areas. Like, it's too clean. It's way too clean. It's way too perfect. We need to make it look a lot more normal, I guess. I always say rundown is not the idea. It's really like normal, and that means we need some cracks in the ground. We need some cracks in some of the buildings. We need maybe some broken windows. We need like these little things that would make areas seem a bit more imperfect, and that is exactly what you need to have this wonderful, wonderful realism. So let me know if that's something you're interested in, because I wanted to use this very park over here to showcase what you can do. Now, anyways, you can see I'm building a rocket over here, which kind of, I mean, I said I haven't fully decided, and that's true. Like, if I feel there is a need to rebuild this rocket, I'm absolutely going to do this, but I wanted to go for like a generic kind of sci-fi appeal that just kind of combines a bit of the brutalism sci-fi approach of like some of the 40s, 50s, 60s kind of thing, but also a bit of a modern touch into it. And yet, I mean, the only thing that you can say is not really in that is kind of the Jules Verne kind of style, I guess, but normal retro futurism would go in. It's hard to say. I wanted to make like a mixture of everything. Like specifically that kind of top part over here is a bit more older. It's not super modern, not really those flaps and so on. I tried to really make a nice looking rocket, just like very much out of my head. There's not that one single reason why I did it the way I did it, but yeah, I think it turned out very nice. I think it turned out really, really nice. I wanted to make it like a fountain and try to pair that with the in-game fountain. We will use the roundish stamp to get this area actually traversable for the people so that they don't always glitch into the fountain. I specifically didn't do that yet because apparently I don't have the stamp yet, but also I didn't want to have to struggle to do that with the onboard with the onboard tools that we have right now in this game. So yeah, that's been very fun. I also have some very cool ideas to play with this. There is a very nice idea to make this whole thing move up and down as well. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to do this because at the moment there is a couple of things I need to do, and I want to make people be able to do this themselves. I just figured recently that if you're in the guest perspective, you can interact with these wonderful, how they're called again, sequencers. And if you are standing in front of a sequencer, you can actually play the sequence while you are in the explore mode, which is kind of cool because you can then create interactive things on the map, which I'll get into with the sci-fi ride I'm planned. This is going to be very exciting. I did a couple of tests already, and this is going to be so hilarious, and it's going to be so fun. I can't wait to show that to you. I'm not sure if I will be able to get this done in the next coming weeks, but it may take a bit more time. I don't know. I'm just testing. Okay, so you can see I found this ride over here, by the way, very, very, very fitting for this area. So I thought that was a very cool idea for a sci-fi ride. It almost feels like this kind of centrifuge is how do you say it in English? Centrifugal? I don't know. But like this testing rig that astronauts need to go through in order to make sure that their body is prepared for that. So yeah. Also, one fun thing about this episode is, as it is just in preparation for the sci-fi area, apparently I don't build the inside of the house because that is exactly the one thing we want to do with the sci-fi pack. But the one thing that I had is I couldn't stop building. Like at some point I was like, hey, that's a new theme. It's a bit different from the usual Hamburg Harbor theme. It's different from Splash Peak. It just kind of gave me ideas. And as it was a bit harder at the moment to get into it, the longer I played, the longer I built, it just felt more natural and easy to build, I guess. And it again showed me how many great pieces we already have in the game, but also how scaling is just such a beautiful tool in order to really get better in the game when it comes to like detailing and so on. It's like you don't need to change too many pieces. You can create very nice patterns easily. You can just scale things to the degree that you need them. And I think I didn't praise it enough till today. But anyways, so another thing I wanted to quickly mention, because I'm very bad at these flat rides. I really need your help with what are your typical favorite flat rides for the park, because we are very heavily leaned towards coasters so far, but I really want to take a step back and do a flat ride, a very heavily themed flat ride in this sci-fi hall. But I need your help. What type of ride would you see in here? And also why? Just give me a bit of an idea, because I'm very bad when it comes to flat rides. Honestly, I'm super bad. I'm just like, honestly, I'm selecting them by A, the size, and B, the overall kind of hitbox that they fill in. So sometimes I do need a ride that doesn't go anywhere high up because, you know, I want to make a coaster above it or so, or it needs to fit in a certain space. But like I never use them because they fit in from a theming point of view, and I really would love to change that. So if you guys are able to tell me what type of one kind of flat ride you'd see realistically fit into our sci-fi area here, let me know in the comments down below. That would be nice. Also, and this is just something I wanted to quickly get rid of while I'm building the entrance of the sci-fi hall, which I'm very happy with, by the way. In general, I would love to ask you guys if you can step in and try to comment a bit more on the channel. And I'm not saying that specifically, or to be precise, I don't say that because of the engagement. I say that because of the feedback. Like, the last couple of episodes have been very rare on comments, and most of them are positive, which is great, but feedback is valuable when it comes to making sure the project is better for me, but also for you guys as a viewer. I want to make this more immersive, but therefore I need your feedback in order to, you know, take this into account. And the last couple of episodes, in general, it doesn't matter if it was Planet Coaster or Planet Zoo or anything else, there was just so little comments that it was very hard for me to understand what to improve, you know. So I would really love if you guys could step in and give a bit of feedback, you know. Also maybe about the video itself, the quality of the video, the rendering quality, the type of commentary. I don't mind, just, I mean, stay polite, I guess, but that would be very helpful because I'm doing that for you guys and I'm enjoying myself building, but I want to make these videos better for you guys. So that would be a very cool thing. You can see also I'm doing some nighttime. Most of the times I completely forget about that, but this time around I thought, you know, specifically for sci-fi, it is super important to have a bit of a nighttime view on it as well, which is surely not the finished state of it, but yeah. Last but not least, I'm going to finish the overall shell of the hall just to make sure that we are all set for the next episode. That'll going to touch upon the sci-fi pack, which I'm so excited to build with. Did I say that already? I'm so excited to build with that one. Yeah, but anyways, you can see this is literally one of the most intricate holes we've done in here. It also has an angle, which always requires me to fill in the gaps in a nice way to make it look very clean. But like these angles also make it so much more interesting to look at. And this is one of the biggest holes we have in the entire harbor area. And this is also why I put this a little bit higher up to ensure that there's also a story behind that. This could have been a later installment of the overall area, I don't know, but it's overall I'm very satisfied with this build. Overall I'm very happy and I can't wait to see what this is all doing. I'm very glad that we will also be able to kind of change the color of our windows because that will also help us to make it look a bit more sci-fi. We will need to close off some of the windows in the next episode in order to make it a bit more dark inside. At the moment the house inside looks kind of good, but it doesn't really give me the idea of what to go. I hope we get these space field panels again, because then I can slap them under the roof to make it feel like in space. But therefore, I would also need to make sure that the windows are a little less opaque. I definitely want to see how that works in-game. I definitely have to create a new group in which all the windows are in, but I can't wait to see how that's going to turn out. So yeah, that's it for the moment. We are now skipping over into the real-time part. Let me just show you how this whole area looks in the game right now and where it sits and how I envision this to become a part of our park in the future. Today we are not in the guest perspective. Today we are actually from above, which means also, let me show you something. I forgot about to do this, but not Sandbox settings. We are going to go into, so you can see the actual performance if I go into the good old TAA. So there you go. So we don't have the ghosting behind those people, at least not as bad as it is with DLSS. So if you don't know what I mean, it's like if you have the DLSS on, which is increasing the performance dramatically by almost 200%, which is crazy. But it's kind of, you know, if you turn the frame generation on, you have these artifacts behind the people, even more than there already exists with the normal TAA, I gotta say. But yeah, so this is the sci-fi area. I'm glad that it still is good enough for the performance. It's not like nice 60 FPS anymore, but it's like about 30 FPS right now, which is okay. And you can see there's the rocket also put on top here. I will change this one with another piece that I built with the sci-fi pack. I just wanted to test out how it looks, but there also, it needs to be connected properly to the ride, which it isn't right now. So I will do this. It's also, as you can see, rotating in the wrong direction. Gonna change a couple of things, but that was just the main idea, to have over here for the looks of it. But yeah, you can see we are here all the way in the back of the park. I'm just gonna move all the way here. You can see where we are. So people have to actually walk quite a way to get there. So at this point, I'm thinking even of about making kind of a monorail maybe, or another way to get from A to B in the park. I'm not entirely sure if we can, but this would also be a fun task to do. Having a monorail go through this park would be very fancy, but then we do have the issue of this one over here, our wonderful little, what is that even? I forgot how this thing is called. The sit-down powered ride, whatever. This one exists in here. As you can see, it's pretty filled. At the center of the park is very busy, but then the rest is not. So I will also start to strategically place some restaurants and some rides and so on. I already said that in the last episode, we will get rid of the ship. It's not going to be vanishing completely, but I'm going to move this completely somewhere else, maybe somewhere in the back here. Maybe it's going to be here, and then the entrance will be set to the other side. I'm not entirely sure where exactly that's going to go. I mean, realistically, it would never be able to get in here. So maybe we're going to put that here. Or maybe down here. Who knows? But like the idea really is to get rid of it at this point, because it just kind of is a very bad thing for the traffic overall in the park. But that's not all we want to talk about. We want to talk about the sci-fi area, and yeah, I'm pretty happy with the entrance. Oops. It's not the finished version. I definitely do put some other little fancy things in here. We need to make sure that we get rid of the curb here, which we finally can soon. So this is just placeholder. There will also be a connection over here. We make like a second entrance over here. But if we go in, so you can see this is the area we are working with. Also, by the way, what we could do real quick, I mean, you know, we are in here. We can just do that real quick. We can just slide and make this all nice and tidy here, so that we have it all pre-filled in, you know, there we go. And then, I'm not sure what, you know, we could also make that in a different kind of ground, but it doesn't matter, because we will have, most likely, the ground will also be done completely in concrete or so. What we could also do is, hold on, can we start like the whole building? I did just do the whole building, right? And, oh yeah, okay, so, I mean, what I could do is just like select this upper pieces and then just kind of bring them to the ground to see if that works for the moment. Oh, look at that, it's still open on this side. Yeah, that is my bad. I definitely get to fix that in the next episode. I didn't see that okay, well, that's so stupid. That's so stupid. Okay, we still need to build like a proper wall in here, but like as for the whole house, I've built this already on this side, so I'm gonna copy this side over to the other one. I also cleaned up the edges already, which I think is pretty nice looking. We do need to seal off this on top of here. I'm just gonna be done with a simple plaster piece, but that's just finishing touches I'm gonna do next episode. But yeah, I really like this overall huge plaza. We've got a lot of space to do some fancy things with sci-fi. We've got this big hall to work with. We can also put some other stuff in this building over here. So if you've got ideas, for example, what could go into this building, let me know. Otherwise, I'm gonna plan to make like a bit of a bigger restaurant maybe over here. We soon are going to have the kind of the ride photo as well, which we might use somewhere. But yeah, also at this point, I may think about making a bit of a bridge crossing over here to kind of go into this space, because that area would actually offer a chance to build a bridge. Sometimes I would love to build like an underpass as well, but that just doesn't work with being in a harbor area like that. I mean, I could do it. We have it at some spaces, but yeah, or maybe I do. Let me know in the comments what you think about that. An underpass over here would also look fantastic, I guess. Should also not be too much of a big deal. Just create like a rounded area here, goes down. Yeah, let me know in the comments what you think of it. But I think a connection of these two areas in terms of guest flow would be very good, either at the bridge or something like an underpass over here. We are going to finish off this side, but yeah, you can see I open up completely this area. So what we gotta have to work with is this, and then that area as well. So as promised, I may gonna upload this wonderful park to the workshop, and you know what, we are going to exactly do this right now. So with your permission, I should say, you can download that, and I'm gonna put this here. So all right, so here we are. I'm gonna type in Hanseatic season 1. Awesome. So that's that, and I'm gonna say upload to the workshop as a new creation. we're going to upload this. As you can see, at the moment it's uploading. There you go, it should be uploaded. There it is, and this is your code. I'm going to copy that later on into the video, but there you can have it. There you can enjoy that if you want to. This is my wonderful Hanseatic Dreamland park for you. But before I end this real-time part, here's a bit of an idea. So as I said in the video, I really would love to hear your feedback on what type of ride we can build, what type of futuristic theme we are going for. As I said, there are different ones to go for. Retrofuturism, we can go into kind of a brutalist futurism, we can go into a very modern future, we can kind of go for Star Wars-esque, Andor Season 2 inspired one. I haven't fully decided yet, or maybe Jules Verne kind of retrofuturism in this kind of style that Space Mountain is in. Yeah, just let me know in the comments down below what you would love to see. I'm very curious to hear about your opinion, and hopefully you enjoyed this episode today of preparing for the sci-fi pack. That is something I didn't do too often, but I think it's a very good idea to prepare. And yeah, so this is what we're getting, and I can't wait to show more to you guys. Hopefully, as I said, you enjoyed that one. I certainly did enjoy this quite a lot, and I talk to you as always in the next one. And please do me a favor, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and activate the bell so you are not missing out on the newest videos if you like them. And well, that's all you can do for now. I talk to you in the next one. Have a wonderful day, and goodbye.